Welcome to episode 10 of the MidLegs podcast. I'm Carl Blalock. That's Maxton Brunke. It's only a weekend, or really a series in between games because we were so late last week. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, a big win for the Reds, getting a win over the Philadelphia Phillies. A tough loss Monday night. They bounced back Tuesday, Wednesday, and that's exactly what this team needed.
Yeah. It really was. I missed Monday's game, so I missed the comeback. I actually turned this game off at what? It was like 4-1 at one point, 3-1. I turned this game off because I work overnights, so I had to be up early. So waking up to find out we blew another one was disheartening. That's for sure. But it's the same thing. We keep talking about it like every week. It feels like now that the bullpen, what's really frustrating is that it's somebody new from the bullpen every week. It's somebody that their arm has been reliable and now it's not reliable all of a sudden. And that's what Monday felt like. The other two games, I felt like Tuesday's only a 4-1 win. I felt like it felt much more dominant. Um, the pitching felt much more dominant. Even Wednesday, like it felt more dominant than Wednesday because that game was 5-4 at one point. I was ready for it. I was ready to watch this team blow another one. But yeah, in general, if you wanna start going game by game.
Yeah, well, I think for Monday, as much, yes, when you turned it off, very disheartening. But, I think we might have turned a corner a little bit with Nick Lodolo. He didn't look great. But after that first inning, he locked in a little bit. He's still not that Nick Lodolo he needs to be, but that was a serviceable start.
Yeah,
And the team fought as well. Sal Stewart hits a home run to tie it in the seventh. Spencer Steer hits a double in the eighth to take the lead. Um, Now, the big question is you had Ashcraft go for, I think, a little bit too long. He went out there for an inning and two thirds. He looked all right, only threw 23 pitches, but
it's a while.
especially with the amount of work that, he's had to put in over the last few months,
Yeah,
maybe that's somebody else you want to throw out there at that point for that eighth inning. I've never really been a fan of, especially when we have these set relievers, to be putting them out there for pushing their limits, going two
hmm
innings. David Bell did this a lot, where I feel like you got to put your relievers in situations where they will be successful, and I don't
yeah,
feel like throwing Ashcraft out there for the eighth inning, especially after you take a lead like that, is necessarily, setting him up for success. Even though, again, we're missing Emilio Pagan, maybe not necessarily him pitching specifically, but the spot that he's normally in, we are missing that right now.
still an arm. It's still a
Exactly. It's
completely
still an
different
arm, and
arm.
it's still something that I think that we are missing.
Yeah,
We're missing that extra guy, and that's where, if we had that extra guy, we put somebody else in, but we didn't have
yeah.
it, and so you wanted to have Ashcraft probably go straight into Santiago. Um, Tuesday, Chase Burns is awesome. That's why it felt such a dominant win there.
Again,
Um,
we're never wrong, but we're just early because we've been talking about this all year long.
oh
How
yeah,
good Chase Burns looked early. We said that this was probably going to be special, and then last week we really went into depth on where his stats lie at this point in the season. He's one of the best pitchers in the league at the moment, and
he
I truly
absolutely
believe
is.
that. I don't know if that makes me a crazed Reds fan,
No,
but what do you want me to say? His stuff looks amazing, and he's getting punch outs, and he's how old? Like this is fantastic stuff from him. Yeah.
he looks really good. 9 strikeouts, only 3 hits, 6 innings pitched. I think one of the biggest things for him as well is he's getting better at being more efficient. We pulled
Yes.
him after only 86 pitches
Yeah. And
and six
he,
innings pitched. That's
he
awesome.
usually touches or gets near 100, which is another great point that just the evolution even throughout the season, not even in the off season of him, throughout the season has been so spectacular. It's a really shining bright spot in this pitching rotation.
Absolutely. He has only made one mistake with the Trey Turner home run, but I mean,
hmm
outside of that, looked incredible. And especially when you can throw 9 strikeouts and only have 86 innings or 86 pitches thrown, that's massive.
Hmm.
Because what that means is that you're being efficient with your location and you're getting a lot of swing and misses. And that's
Yeah.
what Chase Burns is getting. And it's really impressive when you have an outing like that. And it kind of felt like the confidence rolled over into the bullpen as well, who they struck out five. Pierce Johnson
Hmm.
had two strikeouts, Sam Mull with a strikeout, Tony Santion with two strikeouts. It really kind of felt like one of those things for the bullpen to where success breeds success. You saw the success that, your starting pitcher had, and that's something we haven't necessarily had this year to where the starting pitcher hasn't had success.
Yeah.
That set up all of these batters had to prepare for a different kind of outlook. They've already had to kind of adjust everything that came into the
Hmm.
game with Burns and then have to adjust back for somebody else. That helps everybody in the bullpen. You saw that. That's probably one of the best bullpen outings we've had in a few weeks.
Easily, easily, easily. And it goes back to the usage. A lot of those guys that got out there were guys that we've seen a lot. A point that you made earlier that I just want to throw in there. Brandon Williamson, starting pitcher for most of the beginning of this year. Connor Phillips has already uh, almost equaled his innings pitched with about 18
Wow.
more games played. But it's kind of and
Wow.
Graham Ashcraft's right behind him. So it goes both ways. Obviously, these arms are getting tired, but at some points, like Tony Santion, these guys are gonna have more under their belt this season. They're gonna settle in. Um, to jump over to Chase Burns and the swing and misses, 94th percentile for whiff percentage, 34.7%. It is incredibly impressive from him. His chase is pretty good too, 33.1%, but he throws a slider or a breaking ball significantly less, about 60% usage from his four seam, and then that would make 40% for breaking slider most of the time. So I understand the chase percentage being a little bit lower, but it just goes back to the point. This guy, he's being efficient. He's being incredibly efficient with these pitches.
And that's the biggest thing we want to see. And at this point, it is a guarantee that he's going to go out there every fifth day and he's going to throw you six innings of pretty good ball, maybe give up two or three runs, but you're going to get a quality start out of him every 5 days.
Yeah.
And that helps a lot. And the other thing is, as well, is the fact that the Reds won that game. It felt dominant because we had a lot of traffic and we weren't able to necessarily convert as many as we did. We didn't have an RBI hit that game, and we scored four runs.
Well,
Two sac flies, scored one on a fielder's choice, and had one walked in.
yeah.
That's, you know, obviously you want to see hits in that situation, but at least getting runs in and getting multiple
Getting it
runs
done.
in out of those situations, making the hits where even if you do hit an out, you have a productive out. That's massive. And that's a little bit of an adjustment and a leap for this
Mhm.
hitting core that I don't think we have seen necessarily in the last few years as Reds fans.
We talked about it a little bit last week with Sal Stewart and how much they're sending him. I I would also say we're getting really unique with the base running, and it's putting us in positions where even if we don't get full barrel and we sack and we fly out, we can get somebody advance. Excuse me. I think Tito's being more aggressive in that way, but
And, if,
and it's paying
and it
off
has
in
to
some
be.
some cases. But in other cases, it can be really frustrating
Mhm.
when Sal Stewart's getting picked off by he was halfway down the baseline when that throw was came in from right field to home, and we end up losing that game by a couple runs. It can be frustrating in that way, but it's definitely a big change, and it's helping out. It got us Tuesday's win, obviously. No RBI, so yeah, very interesting. Very interesting aspect about this team.
Absolutely. And then it after, struggling to where we got the opportunities, we didn't fully get it, but we at least got runs. I think that kind of built a little bit of confidence into Wednesday's game where we had 15 hits. Listen to all these people with multi-hit games on Wednesday. You had Sal Stewart going 4 for 5 with a home run and two RBIs. JJ Bleday with two hits. Spencer Steer with two hits. Nathaniel Lowe with two hits. Blake Dunn with 2 hits, and PJ Higgins
Yeah, I
with two
apologize to
hits.
PJ. I apologize. I
You
I
know
talked
what?
shit.
He,
I got
he's
hit.
he's really surprised me. I
Yeah.
did not expect that, but I think that knowing that, hey, this is probably my last chance to really make some noise on a major league roster, he's rising to the occasion.
I'm a little worried about the defensive efforts at some points. But it hasn't been a huge issue yet, so I'm not even gonna mention it. I'm gonna take we collectively are gonna take our victory lap on JJ Bleday, by the way.
Yes.
I'm officially calling that. How outstanding has he been?
Mm-hmm.
He is seeing the ball so well at the plate, and even and here's the best part about this is that he's putting himself in pitch counts that help us no matter what. And then in those pitch counts where he's forcing the pitcher to throw inside on him, he's getting piped to the ball. Like it is. I love baseball. I think he makes me love baseball at the moment. And I would say the exact same copy paste for Spencer Steer.
Steers refound that form that he really had in 2023,
Yes.
where he's just that guy. He's just that guy. He's not going to be your number one hitter, but he will, he's your lunchbox guy. He'll come out there, he'll have himself an RBI double, he'll have
Yep.
himself that clutch hit, he'll have himself, the hits that put him in a position to where we can win ball games. And that's exactly what we need him to be. Him and Matt McLean, who honestly is probably going to get a little bit overshadowed by either Nathaniel Lowe or Blake Dunn.
Yeah.
I was talking about this. He
What?
had a double and a triple on this game, and we were talking about it. And I know we mentioned him a little bit last week, but we need to mention him even more.
Yeah.
My goodness, this guy needs his flowers. This was somebody we expected nothing of. I expected him to be kind of like that kind of Jacob Hurtubise sort of guy who he just exists in the outfield. Maybe he'll
Right.
get a hit like once every 3 games. No, he has been phenomenal. I think he's batting something like 350 at the moment. Obviously, that's in limited plate appearances, but
357.
when he is
Wow.
getting his
And 20,
opportunities,
28 ABs.
he's hitting them.
Yeah. I think he's been fantastic as well. And I think the reason we didn't talk about him last week is that I think at that point he only had like 21 ABs.
Well,
And
we mentioned him in passing a little bit because he had
yeah,
he had a good game against the Guardians. One of the few guys who had a good game against the Guardians, and so we mentioned him in passing, just going like, "Oh, hey, he's batting all right." That's a bit surprising. It doesn't
no,
feel like that, but
yeah,
it
you're
felt like that this
you're right
week.
about that. I mean, last 7 days he's got 7 hits, and one of them's a triple, which I thought was pretty cool from him because he's not the fastest guy in the world, but it was
He
entertaining.
actually that's surprising. He has that kind of sneaky speed. They kind of
He
talked
does.
about it,
He
and
does.
he missed a home run by the wind. The wind was blowing a little bit in. There was a little bit of a gust of wind blowing in because I mean he only missed a home run the dead part of Philadelphia Stadium by about 2 feet. It bounced off the
I think we
wall.
have two home runs yesterday or Wednesday if the wind isn't there because a couple of those whose was it late that
I think
just barely went off
it was either
the right
low
hand
or
wall.
steer where it like
Yeah.
it hit. It was
I think it
like a
was steer.
few feet to the right and it hit the high wall instead of the low
Yep.
wall.
Yep. And if there's no wind there, that's gone for sure. Um so that was a fun game. I'd say. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd like to see. I will say the pitching a little bit. I'd like to see more from Abbott. He had another one of those off days. Well, and he always that's been one knock about him the entire time he's been in the league is he has those days to where he gets a little roughed up in the first inning, and that happened a little bit in the first inning. It was a stressful first inning on Wednesday, but he trooped through it. And then Brock Burt gives up a home run, and you're like, oh,
Mhm.
not again. But the offense picked him up. Sal Stewart, we talked about. Nathaniel Lowe picked him up. And I think that with all those multi-hit games, and this is another thing with our bullpen to why they are so worn down, is if you remember that first month of the season, especially the first like 4 weeks, the bats obviously weren't fully there. We had two or three guys that could hit and everybody else couldn't. And so we weren't scoring the runs. So every single one of those outings that we had from the bullpen were high stress situations. They had to throw their best. It was high stress. And I think that kind of wore them down a little bit. Now, whether or not we could build them back up, I'm not entirely sure, especially when we're looking at the rotation that we are right now, where as much as Chris Paddock hasn't been the unmitigated disaster we were fearing he was going to be,
True.
it's basically like having the, 70% Brandon Williamson that we had at the beginning of the year. And we still don't have Rhett Lauder. We still don't have Chase Petty. We're going to be hurting for a little bit until we get back to Hunter Green and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I do think that that's something for the bullpen to where when we can have situations like that, because once obviously with Brock Burke it was he gives up that home run, but once we got later in the game and we really started opening up that game to where instead of being 5-4 it was 7-4 and then 9-4 late. I mean, what Graham Ashcraft threw 10 pitches and 9 strikes, 2 strikeouts in 1 inning of work. That is impressive. I think that if we can put less pressure to where they're just going out there and they're throwing strikes and they don't have to necessarily worry as much about being on that razor's edge, that's going to be massive for this bullpen and kind of reclaiming it and rejuvenating it as we head into the summer.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I'm happy about Paddock. Paddock, we see him again tonight. We're recording this mid-Friday.
I'm not saying I'm happy to see Paddock. I'm just hoping that he continues to be the serviceable starter that he was for the first 2 outings.
I mean, I'm a little worried. There's a lot of momentum in St. Louis right now, and I'm not a huge fan of it. Obviously a division rival, and this is a big series. There's no way to put it. We just got swept our last 2 division rival series.
We have to start winning against divisions. And when you look, and this is a good segue into, because it's Memorial Day weekend, and so that means that it's time to start looking at the schedule.
Yeah.
Or the standings and the schedule as well, and kind of go, all right, who are we going to be going up against? Who are we going to be fighting for these wild card spots? And you look right now, we actually dropped back down because the Pirates or the Brewers won and the Pirates won. We're back down to last in the division as of right now, with the Brewers leading. We're 4.5 games back, tied with the Pirates. The Cardinals are 2 games back at 28 and 21. And, obviously the division's still there for the taking. We have to start winning divisional games for that to work, but, it's still there. You look at the wild card standings right now, it's, first of all, let's just look at it in general. In the National League. Division leaders right now, you got the Braves who, barring a cataclysmic collapse, are going to win the NL East. If they don't win the NL East this year, something has gone
Something went wrong.
They have a 9.5 game lead right now. They have the best record in baseball, 35 and 16. They are a good team right now. That they should. The Central Division, we talked about it, the Brewers, 1.5 games up on the Cubs, then the Cardinals. And then you've got the Dodgers out west. They're leading the division by 1.5 games over the Padres and the Diamondbacks. I think we're only looking at one NL East team. It's if there is one other team, maybe the Phillies, but I don't.
Maybe.
Right now they're 500. I'm not really seeing it. So I think what we're going to see is it's going to be at least one NL West team, if not 2. You've got the Padres and the Cardinals out there. And then you've got whoever comes out of the Central. And that could be 2 teams. That could be, 3 teams. It really depends. But right now, looking at the wild card standings, the 3 wild cards right now are the Padres, Cubs, and Cardinals. All of them sitting around at 29 and 20, 29, 21, 28, and 21. You have the Diamondbacks 2 games back. You have the Pirates 2.5 games back. The Reds 2.5 games back. The Phillies 3.5 games back, and the Nationals at 4 games back. But I think more than likely what you're looking at is, you're looking against the Cubs, the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Diamondbacks, I think, for the Reds. And I think the Pirates will fade a little bit. They already have started to fade a bit. But that's what you're seeing. And this is where this is such an important series for the Reds because especially since you've already kind of burned the bridge, we have to win every single game we play against the Pirates at this point to take back that matchup. If we're going to win
Yeah,
that tiebreaker, the head to head, we got to win every single game. That's probably not going to happen. We're down 0-4 to the Cubs as well with that. That's a little bit more manageable. Maybe we can come back with that, but that's going to take a lot. We're going to have to figure out how we're going to be able to do that when you can start fresh with a team like the Cardinals, who are more than likely going to be fighting with you for at least a wild card spot, if not a divisional spot. You need to win these games. You
yeah.
have to win these games. You have to win this series. And so it's a really important series over Memorial Day weekend. And I guess this is a perfect spot, I think, to ask you, Brunke. Do you think that the Reds are a playoff team right now? Do you think that this is
Yeah,
a team that can be a playoff team as we're hitting this 50 game mark? We're hitting Memorial Day weekend where, people are kind of, this is what you're going to get out of this team. Is this a playoff team?
I do. I do think they're a playoff team with the caveat of like what do we mean by playoff? Are we going to win a playoff game? Maybe.
You
I
could take playoff, whatever. If it's just making it like what we did last year, if it's winning it, I mean, there's levels to it. What level do you think we're at, I guess, then?
I think this team can get in. I think where I would like to put that. There's just so much that can go wrong. The starting pitcher core, while it has its shining moments, is on thin ice. The bullpen, thin ice. If the bats go cold again, that's another eight game losing streak. And that's what I get worried about because then honestly, we can't afford to do that again.
Yeah.
We have to stay up. Our heads have to be above water for the rest of the season. We built up that lead in the beginning of the season just to throw it away. I don't anticipate us doing that again. Only because this last half before the All-Star break is brutal. I mean, St. Louis, New York, we can put them away, and kind of bury their chances at a wild card by sweeping them in this series. Even a series win would probably be pretty nice because this team is bad at the
They are on
moment.
a little bit of a hot streak. They've won 7 of their last 10 somehow.
I 7 out of 3 or 7-3 is fine, but like I'm still not worried about that team. They don't have
Yeah.
that much to offer. Then we have Atlanta at home, Kansas City, St. Louis, San Diego, Arizona. Like these are all teams that are hanging around us or just above us. Like it's a difficult schedule. We have a 3-game series against Milwaukee at home and a 4-game away. And then we got Chicago again later in the series as well. The Pirates. It's important. We don't have the leeway anymore.
No, we
It
don't.
it is time. I think it'll give us a nice little preview into how the rest of the season's going to go. Is these next 3 or 4 series? Yes, I think this is a playoff team, but we're gonna need some help. We're gonna need one of the Cubs, the Cards, or the Pirates to go on some big Lala streak.
Well, I think that the biggest thing that we're looking at is you talked about that tough stretch there, and we got to remember what our September looks like. Our September
It's
is
brutal.
hellish when
Mm.
you look at it. I mean, we're playing. I think we play the Braves twice in September. I want to say, I mean,
We
it's
play.
ridiculous.
We start September midway through a San Diego series, which will probably be very pivotal at that point if we're fighting for a wild card spot.
Yep.
Then we have Milwaukee at home. Then we go to LA for the Dodgers. Then we go to Milwaukee. Then we bring LA here for a 4-game series. Then we bring Chicago here, the Cubs. Then we go to Atlanta and then to Toronto to end off the month of September. And that would be the rest of the schedule.
We have the Dodgers twice, not the Braves. We do have the Braves though
Yes.
as
No, we have
well. I mean, we finished the last
yeah,
6 games are on the road,
yeah. I mean,
and
we
they're
play
all
seven.
playoff teams
Yeah,
they're playoff teams from last year, minus the Braves, who are the best team in baseball this year. And even going back as far as a Cubs series right before
Yeah.
that Padres series. Like, oh,
This is a tough schedule.
it's very tough. And I think that's the thing is I don't know. I feel like we can be a playoff team, but I don't we are either going to make the playoffs and make a run or we're going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be tested by fire in the last bit. The thing is
Yeah.
really going to come down to when Hunter Green comes back. Are we
What
going to
does this team
see
become?
well,
That's
are
what
we
I
going
want
to
to
see
know.
the Hunter Green that we expect to see that is, this phenomenal pitcher?
Right.
Or are we going to have this growing period like what we're having with Nick Lodolo? Because
Right.
right now, that's the biggest issue is the fact that we literally have run out of pitchers. We're grabbing Chris Paddock off of the scrap heap,
Hmm.
and we're starting him every 5 days. Like that's not good enough.
Sustainable.
Exactly, and so I can see a path, especially I think the offense is just going to get better. I think the big reason why Sal was struggling lately was because he didn't have the protection that he had with Gino, with Suarez in the lineup. Now that Suarez is working his way back, I know he had a rehab start yesterday in Columbus. Um, so I
I
don't
don't
know
know what
how
happened
he's
in that
close.
game. Hang
I
on.
know he at least
I'll go
struck out
check.
once.
I was very upset about this for those that don't know. I don't know if I talked to you about that. I think I did.
I
But
think he did.
um this game, I get off of work at 1:30 p.m. and this game was a noon Thursday game.
Oh, it's the businessman special. It's the bit. My
Man,
uncle, my uncle goes to these every. He sent me a picture. I was jealous. He sent me a picture of his full beer, putting in the scoreboard because
like
he
I would
gets
have
the
loved
tickets
to
for
do
like
that.
$15 because it's a businessman special. He's gone to them every single one they have. He'll
Yeah,
go.
it is. It's a business day special. You're right. That is what that is. All right, here we go. Gino. Gino went to bat 3 times and he struck out twice. And he didn't do anything
Ah,
else.
ah.
And he got pulled. Uh, for Hampson. Who's Hampson? Gary
Gary
Hampson.
Hampson.
Hmm.
I'm glad you have blocked him from your memory. I unfortunately have not.
um, Arroyo, however, Edwin Arroyo had a big day. 4 ABs, 1 run, 2 hits, 3 RBIs. He's batting 348 in minors, by the way.
I
He's
think
got a
that's something
1.0212 OPS.
I think that's something, and we can kind of talk about this as well, is there's going to be folks that are going to be, we're going to have a few people that are going to have to, get either benched or something. And I think you're starting to see it with Key Brian Hayes. And I think that's going to continue. We haven't seen TJ Friedel, I feel like, in a few days as well. I
Yeah,
think
what
he's going to start
I was
getting
going to
taken
ask
out.
about that. Thank
Um,
God.
Matt
Sorry.
McClain as well.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why not Edwin Arroyo and Matt McClain's spot?
Exactly. Or, well, you think right now, once you bring Suarez back, you still have to find a spot for Nathaniel Lowe. He has to
Yep.
play every day. Along with that, Lowe's on the infield. You still have to have a spot for Steer, who needs to play every day at this point. He's batting 273. You got to play him every day. So that leaves two spots that, who's going to leave for those spots? Three
Right.
spots, actually, because you got Suarez, you know, you got three spots to play every day. Key Brian Hayes is probably at the very least going to sit on the bench if he doesn't try to get traded or DFA'd or something. Because he's not
I don't think
producing
he
well enough.
will.
What was it? It was forget if it was Tuesday or Wednesday's game. It was Tuesday's game. He had one of the worst performances I've ever seen. He grounded into two double plays, missed had a like a strikeout and missed a hit and run
Mm,
sign.
yes.
Got Tyler Stevenson thrown out at second and then struck out again.
Yeah.
Genuinely one of the worst
It's just
hitting
bad
performances
baseball.
ever.
It's bad
Like
baseball.
that's
Like,
that was the numbers I was putting up in my fourth grade baseball league the last time I played baseball. That was what was happening there if I didn't get smoked in the hip.
He's
You know,
batting 142.
it's we talked about where it was bad luck sometimes. At this point, it's not like he's just eventually it's just you're not a good hitter. And I think
I
right now he's just not a good hitter.
For a while it did look like bad luck, but I just think he's bad at baseball.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I hate to say it, and it sounds a little mean, but the mechanics aren't good.
No.
He missed a sign. Like,
Yeah.
what are you out there for? I think maybe now the morale is just too low, and
It
he
might
needs
be. And the only reason he'll be out there is just as a defensive sub.
yeah.
Um, but I'm also a little bit sad because even though we are such big Will Benson fanboys, I think it also means that Benson is probably going to be on his way out, especially once Arroyo gets up.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
I think if the re-signs trade told us anything else about anybody else on this team, it's that Benson's probably on his way out as well.
which we didn't even mention that, but that is we get an okay reliever from the Marlins. I think it's basically just another arm. I don't know if we're going to start him.
Yeah.
Actually, he kind of seems like a kind of swing man a little bit. He walks a lot of people, which I'm not exactly excited for. But
What's this guy's name again?
I want to say it's like Chris Flannery or something like that.
McCambly.
McCambly, that's it.
Does that sound right?
Yeah,
McCambly. Yeah, Zach McCambly.
Zach McCambry, that's it.
All right, what do you got for me, big dog? Oh wait, yeah, he's been in the minors all year, so this isn't gonna tell me shit.
From what I saw, because I looked him up, and he just kind of he didn't really jump out the page. He just
Yeah,
was
he's
kind of a
like he's
meh guy.
yeah, this is totally just like he's just gonna eat up some
Innings, exactly.
innings. Okay, well, if we bring him up, he's still in the minors,
He is a
so
lefty. He's also a lefty as well.
yeah, that's probably helpful.
Yeah, but
And
I
I
mean
got him in
it's
his fucking Phillies hat here. He's not even in the Marlins hat, let alone a Reds one.
yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
I'm not
It
too
felt like a
concerned.
nothing trade, and it still kind of feels like a nothing trade.
Well, it could it's depth. It's
Yeah,
depth, which we need, especially since we refuse to bring up um especially since we refuse to bring up Andrew Chafin.
yeah.
I'm gonna hammer on that all year.
I
I
guess
don't
so.
know
I because it's
why
just
we
never gonna
wasted
happen.
him.
It's never gonna happen. I don't know.
Um, yeah. Well, before we finish today's episode, I do want to talk a little bit. If you follow the Reds on social media, you probably saw we posted it because he was a big part of the promotion last year for the Speedway Classic. But Kyle Busch passed away Thursday afternoon. And I know, Brunke, you're not as big into NASCAR. Me growing up in small town rural Ohio, I was massive into NASCAR. After I heard the news, I went and bought M&Ms and Double Mint as a way of just, I don't know. When I saw it, because I saw he went to the hospital, but it feels like the end of a childhood and one that's almost ripped away. Obviously, you feel for his family, you feel for, everybody in the NASCAR community. You feel especially for his son Brexton, who was racing alongside him. He is going to be just as good of a racer as his dad was. And so many people were so excited to see him uh, go up against his dad once he makes it up to the Truck Series. Heck, Bush won a Truck Series race last Friday at Dover. Um, and he's not here anymore. And for a little kid who, since I can remember Kyle Busch on a racetrack. I had his little diecast, the little 5 Kellogg's car. Was one of the cars that I would just be racing around my floor all the time, on, whatever little mat. My mom probably stepped on way too many of those because I just have them set up everywhere around the house. And one of my favorite ones that I had the M&Ms. I had the 18 M&Ms. Um, it's it's something that's unfathomable. It it hurts, and obviously this isn't necessarily, NASCAR or anything like that, but I mean it's a platform, and it just, to have somebody like that who you've seen grow up. He grew up himself. He was Mr. Excitement. He won 234 races over NASCAR's top three series. It it's unfathomable.
That's
It's
wild.
almost like Kobe, except if Kobe was still playing. Um, it's it's hard to process. It really feels like your childhood's dying. What, we're in our 20s at this point. It is. And especially in this current climate right now, it's very obvious that we're not kids anymore.
No.
But I mean, just having it to where there's this guy on TV that I've seen every day, every Sunday. I've seen this guy on my TV, um, racing and winning for so much of that, and for him not to be there anymore on just a sickness that came out of nowhere. It it is absolutely unfathomable. So and I think you're seeing it. Even God doesn't want him to race this weekend. It's raining so much down in Charlotte. And it's one of those things to where even God's crying that Kyle Busch is gone. But they'll move on, and we'll obviously figure out what post Kyle Busch NASCAR looks like. But I mean, he was around. I think he was a Reds fan, honestly. I know he hit our batting practice at Arizona. That was one of the pictures they posted of him, along with the picture of Johnny Bench. But definitely a gut punch, and definitely something I've been sitting just thinking about for, well, since they announced it Thursday
Hmm.
night. So
Yeah, it's really tough. Rest in peace, Kyle Busch. Obviously, yeah, like you said, I didn't watch that much NASCAR, but I think I provide an interesting perspective that even as somebody that had really no knowledge of NASCAR outside of like the Earnhardts,
you knew
I
Kyle
knew
Busch
Kyle
because he'd
Busch's
go punch
name.
a guy once every
No,
few
of course.
years.
He has a video of him. How much time do we have? He has really quickly. He has a video of him getting out of his car and going up and getting into a fight with somebody. I think it happened a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's one of the coolest things ever because
I
it's just such a raw sport. Like I don't know what the best way to describe it is, but he will be. It's a big loss for the sports world. He will be missed. Crazy for him to be hospitalized and then die in the same day. It just came out of nowhere. I really do wonder what he had, but we won't know that for a while,
No, we won't.
probably.
We won't for a bit. I mean, TMZ is going to speculate, but
Sure.
you know, they'll announce it in due time when it's necessary. But anyways, that'll wrap up the MidLegs podcast for today. Make sure to like, subscribe, and keep an eye for us next Friday. We'll actually be here next Friday and not have it a messed up
Yes,
schedule.
we
Back
will.
on the regular schedule, right here on Blalock Media.